My warm welcome to the second day of the BSR Water Project Summer Conference, dedicated to best practices and concrete measures against the pollution of the Baltic Sea. And although the COVID pandemic influenced the original plan of having this conference offline in Gdańsk, we have tried to bring a little bit more of a local perspective to the agenda. And I hope that this experience today will kind of bring you a bit closer to Gdańsk and their surrounding. For those that have not joined yesterday, my name is Agnieszka Ilola. I'm project coordinator and a lead partner of the BSR Water platform for integrated water cooperation at Union of the Baltic Cities Sustainable Cities Commission. I will be moderating this event together with my local host representative from Gdańsk University of Technology, Magdalena Gajewska, and technical support is provided by my colleague from UBC, Maria Andreeva. Welcome, warm welcome everyone once again. So we would like to know a little bit whom do we have also in the audience. So we want to know what organizations we have here with us. We would like to have a short poll and ask what type of organizations do you represent? We have, we have quite many academia and representatives from research institutions, but we also have local authorities, regional authorities, international organizations, business sector a bit. But yes, so we are quite strong on the research side today. In the agenda for today, we have two sessions, and first session will look into and showcase the city of Gdańsk and their process into turning to blue-green infrastructure to manage excess stormwater and improve water quality while protecting urban biodiversity. And in the second session, we will look at the solutions to address emerging pollutants in waters, such as pharmaceuticals, microplastic, and also important aspect of involving the local citizens in this work. But before the practical applications examples, we will have a special guest presentation from HELCOM by Dmitry Frank-Kamienicki, who is the professional secretary at Helsinki Commission, and he is going to give us an introduction to the newly adopted HELCOM regional recommendation on proper stormwater management. So I personally welcome our first speaker, Dmitry, please, please give us the presentation about the regional stormwater recommendations. Before that, I will say a couple of words about the BSR Water platform. So the platform is about increase of cross-sectoral cooperation through transnational experience exchange, sharing of good practices, and developing of regional policy recommendations for three topics: sustainable stormwater management, nutrient recycling, and hazardous substances. And platform synthesizes the results from 7 projects. It's the IWAMA project, Best iWater RBR, Manure Standards, Village Waters, and Clip Leave. Those projects deal mainly with wastewater management from both domestic and industrial streams, with stormwaters, as well as the leakages of nutrients from agricultural sites. Our strategy has the clear links to the regional policies, and here I would mention the ones guiding us, which is the European Union strategy for the Baltic Sea region. And here we are cooperating with policy areas, Nutri, Hazard, and climate and neighbors. We also support the HELCOM Baltic Sea Action Plan development, and further on the implementation, also development of HELCOM recommendations. And as the Union of the Baltic Cities, Sustainable Cities Commission, which I'm representing, we also have our own strategic document, which is UBC Sustainability Action Program, with a special commitments in the field of sustainable water management and improvement of the ecological state of the Baltic Sea. On the European agenda, we have European Green Deal, Zero Pollution Plan, and then of course on the global agenda, we follow the UN SDG goals. A few words about the where we started, when and how we started the cooperation. So we started back in 2018, and it's been a project that is running until end of September 2021. So we are about to finalize our outputs, and further on, I will say a couple of words where you can find them. And where we can share them. We have 10 partners, 19 associated partners, representatives of, as I mentioned, various multi-stakeholders groups, and this platform is funded by Interreg Baltic Sea Region program. Here a little bit about the partnership. As I mentioned, we have representatives of academia, of research, we have municipalities of Riga and Helsinki, and we have also the Helsinki Commission as our policymaker, as well as the policy area Nutri and hazard coordinators as our associated partners. When it comes to synthesizing the solutions from projects and our main aim, we have here two strands. So we have a practice-oriented work, which is about the collection, evaluation, and dissemination of projects, mainly those 7 contributing projects, but also other projects that have been cooperating with us over those 3 years of time. So we are synthesizing those, collecting the results and publishing them on an online portal. And at the moment we have like 101 cases for you to check up and to uptake maybe the most innovative solutions and interesting ideas. We also created a network of experts, which I'm going to tell a bit more in a few next slides. And we have created a forum for discussion between those various stakeholders and decision makers. So we have organized around 30 events altogether up to now for the discussion. When it comes to the practical dissemination of the results, I mentioned that we have launched the Baltic Smart Water Hub, which you can find at balticwater.net. It's already launched, and cases are published there. It's an online portal for exchanging of practical experiences in the region and promotion, especially promotion of those local achievements on the regional agenda. We are showcasing there over 100 different solutions, and as you can see, they are grouped in 4 main water areas. It's a freshwater, stormwater, seawater, and wastewater. So you'll find there the solutions from the production on the drinking water through the management of stormwaters to wastewater purification. But apart from the showcasing of practical solutions, we also created a space for networking between the experts, water experts in the region, especially in those mentioned 4 areas. And therefore, it's also here you can see how the experts profile looks on our Baltic Smart Water Hub. We have now collected over 21 active experts ready to cooperate and provide the support in specific fields of their expertise. This is an open call as well, so if you are an active expert and would like to find out a bit more about other experts and about our networking possibilities in the hub, please subscribe to be an expert in the network. When it comes to the cases and solutions, here also you can see how we have been grouping and how we have been presenting those concrete solutions on our website. So you can find, so you can easily find a solution to your challenge, to your problem, or just simply a good practice to follow. We have different colors systems for whether it's for each of the water areas, and then we have also symbols, as you can see them, for different format of knowledge. So whether it's a good practice, which is more wider application with concrete results of a solution, or it's just a description of more technical specifications of a solution, or it's a concrete tool to take up, or a innovation, which is something completely new based more on the newest research. And that's how a concrete case is described in our hub. For example, you find here a little bit of the background and the challenge, the technical conditions of the site, a country where it's been implemented, a little bit on the economical side, so the costs, the funder, and then the most important also the contacts to the implementers, so you can directly ask relevant questions from the person that have implemented this solution and maybe exchange a bit on the successes and some important aspects of implementation. And then, of course, you always find whenever possible gallery graphs, additional materials, and additional cases. So I encourage you very much to not only visit our hub and browse, but also to submit your cases, because the hub is open for new solutions. And then another approach which we have in our BSR Water platform is that for policy, or it's a policy-oriented approach where we try to synthesize the solutions and results and synthesize the knowledge and put it for the policy recommendations. So the outcomes of the project have been translated for the development of the regional policy recommendations together with our partner from Helsinki Commission and other important stakeholders. So we try to bring on the fora the academia, the practitioners, and then policymakers for creating the recommendations in nutrient recycling, in hazardous substances, stormwater management, and water/energy nexus. And as an example, you will find a published output, a palette of solutions for nutrient recycling, which is offering a selection of sustainable and safe measures for sustainable reuse and recycling of a phosphorus. This is an example of one output. Example of another output is inputs to HELCOM recommendation, update of recommendation 2035, and on reduction of discharges from urban areas by the proper management of stormwater. And this will be introduced by our HELCOM representative in a few minutes. And then we also have a couple of others policy briefs and recommendations, which I'm not going into details now, but they are available on our bsrwater.eu website. And I very warmly encourage you to visit and check this publication. The policy briefs for micropollutants are not yet published. They will be available later this year, and also the guidelines for integrated model for water/energy cooperation, looking quite much into effective and efficient cooperation models. So this is something that is still upcoming towards the end of the project. So with this, I will thank you, and please type your questions, whatever questions you might have to regarding our cooperation, and I will now give a floor to Dimitri Frank-Kamieniecki from Helsinki Commission to bring a little bit closer the newest HELCOM recommendation. Dimitri, please. The microphone is yours. I will stop sharing my screen. So.
Thank you. And thank you for this introduction. Actually, for HELCOM, this so-called science policy dialogue is one of the pillars of the work. And I think this project and the recommendation which I would like to present today is, so to say, prominent example how this science policy dialogue can be organized and resulted in concrete documents, which, so I'm just speaking while I'm trying to share my presentation. The recommendation, which has been recently adopted by Helcom contracting parties, actually it happened less than a week ago on Friday last week. But that was not an easy process. Actually, the communication and discussion was quite lengthy in different countries. And Germany, for example, having the longest discussion, agreed with this recommendation just a couple of weeks before. I mean, nationally agreed with this recommendation just a couple of weeks before the adoption. What is the need of this recommendation? Why we are so keen to promote the issue of urban stormwater management? Yeah, probably you are well aware about the fragile ecosystem of the Baltic Sea and multiple pressures, environmental pressures on the marine ecosystem. And probably also quite aware about this Baltic Sea assessment, State of the Baltic Sea assessment, which was published in 2018, and which prominently showed that input of phosphorus and nitrogen, so these nutrients, contamination are the major pressures which are exerted by human activities on land, and not only on land, on the sea. Also, we have a good number of, on top of this well-known pressures, we have a good number of new challenges. One of them is microplastics, and recent studies show that the microplastics and microparticles, plastic particles, they are observed in all compartments of the marine environment, in biota, in sediments and water column, and this is really significant threat for the marine environment. And on top of that, we have a climate change. I would probably say a bit more about these four main factors which are considered in the recommendation. So you probably know that despite of the whole effort to abate eutrophication of the Baltic Sea, it remains in the eutrophic conditions. And as you can see on the diagram to the right of the screen, especially input of nitrogen. This is actually a new picture which was just a couple of months ago published, and it covers the time series from 95 to 2018. And this first time we can clearly show with all statistical instruments, that there is no any progress in reduction of nitrogen input in the last decade, so somewhere since middle of 2000s. That's much better situation with the phosphorus, but what happens with the nitrogen is plain stagnation. With regard to hazardous substances, you can also see dominating red color, which indicates not good environmental status in terms of, for example, heavy metals, typical contaminants for stormwater or urban stormwater, as well as for a good number of organic contaminants, pollutants. And also, what is the most alarming, you can see at the diagram in the right low corner, that for many areas we can see increasing contamination trend. So despite, again, the all effort, so we are still polluting the Baltic Sea. And stormwater, I suspect you are well aware about these diagrams, which originate from Non-Haz City project. So you can see that stormwater will contribute to this process with either heavy metals or other contaminants, organic contaminants. What concerns the microplastics, so these are studies, global studies. Yeah, you know that there are two types of microplastics, so primary and secondary. But if we speak about primary microplastics, which comes from land-based sources, road runoff is a purely dominating source for them. And finally, this is also a global study, and it indicates that issues related to stormwater management are the most alarming, the main concern among um, cities around the whole globe. The prioritization a bit deviates between the northern and southern hemisphere, but anyway, you can see that issues related to flooding or ecosystem health, they are common for the whole global community. With that, what is the urban water, stormwater? It is a remarkable source of nutrients. This is pathway for a good bundle of hazardous substances. This is one of the major sources of microliter, and this is subject of high concern in terms of climate change. So all those prerequisites definitely push HELCOM to do anything about stormwater management. Actually, what can HELCOM do? Yeah, you know that we are not investing, we are not building stormwater. What we can do, we can organize a dialogue between contracting parties to the Helsinki Convention using this statement, Article number 3 of the Helsinki Convention, as a starting point. And this says that the contracting parties agrees to undertake all measures to eliminate pollution of the Baltic Sea. And this is the only legally binding HELCOM document. It means that this is a part of our international legislation, legal framework, and mandatory for implementation by all contracting parties. But this is definitely quite general statement, which can be specified by various other documents. Actually, this is our main work to produce documents. You can see the hierarchy. All these documents which are listed here, they are actually politically binding. For example, Baltic Sea Action Plan. Probably you know that now we are in the middle, or I would say at the final stage of the update of this Baltic Sea Action Plan, is our main regional policy agreement on implementation of the Helsinki Convention and achievement of the good environmental status of the Baltic Sea. But how concretely it should be done is described by HELCOM recommendations. Again, HELCOM recommendations are politically binding documents. They are not, they differ from, for example, EU legislation, which is also part of international framework, but EU directive, they are legally binding for all contracting parties. HELCOM recommendations are politically binding, which mean that the contracting parties agreeing on the recommendations oblige themselves to integrate these provisions into national legislation, which make them legally binding for implementation. So this is how the system works. And with that, we are coming to recommendation 23.5. And this is not something new. The first version of this recommendation was adopted already almost 20 years ago. And this recommendation had some provisions. Now we are entering in the most boring part of the presentation, so it will be mainly presenting text on the screen. But I will try to briefly comment it, just to express, so to say, the core of this text, summarizing the core of this text. And actually, the original recommendation had a number of provisions aimed at prevention pollution, but the main focus was actually oil. And this was the only pollutant which was addressed by the recommendation. And of course, it didn't take into account neither climate change aspects nor microparticles and anything else. So that definitely it was clear for everyone that the recommendation had to be revised. And a new version was produced, as I already said in the very beginning of this presentation, with the good input from BSR WATER project, and particularly from our colleagues from Riga and from Helsinki. But that was not the only contribution. Also Coalition Clean Baltic contributed a lot, especially with regard to provisions related to mitigation of input of microplastics into the marine environment. So the recommendation was significantly expanded. Now it includes three main parts: addressing planning stormwater, specific measures aimed at reduction of discharges, some specific actions addressing high risks, management of high risk stormwater. And also this recommendation contains two annexes. One actually supporting information describes some concepts which are recommended for use in this recommendation. We will speak a little bit more about them. And then in the end, reporting format, which unexpectedly became one of the main obstacles for contracting parties, and it was not agreed in the full scale, but as a provisional reporting format. Well, about planning, what is recommended? First of all, we introduce the term ecosystem services, which are to be taken into account when planning stormwater management. Also, we integrate the concept of integrated stormwater management, which means, so to say, multi-functional development of stormwater management systems and catering for many various services, offering, many different services. Then we recommend that stormwater planning is based on the catchment areas, which actually also caused some discussions between contracting parties. For example, raising the issue when we speak about heavily altered natural areas, when we can hardly speak about proper catchments of any water bodies. Yeah, but then anyway, this is recommended whenever it is possible to do. I think these are main points from this part over planning. And the second part of stormwater planning, we also address mainly climate change issues, which means that, first of all, there should be a protection of the existing systems against overflowing. And it can be done building secondary runoff paths. Then it is highly recommended that all municipalities and all who are responsible for stormwater management would develop water policies, and these water policies and the whole system takes into account climate change future scenarios. I know that in many cases it is not done. So actually, all construction is based on the past observations and long-term weather parameters or climatic parameters, but hardly take into account the future climate change and future scenarios. With regard to prevention of contamination and discharges from water, the first thing which is recommended is a so-called hierarchy for stormwater management solutions. It starts from the utilization at source, just means organization of areas when stormwater are naturally filtrated into soil. And the most unfavorable solution, but unfortunately unavoidable, is combined sewer systems. When wastewater are mixed, stormwater are mixed with wastewater and directed to wastewater treatment plants. But this is unavoidable. We know quite well that there are many historically built areas when any other solution than the last one are not possible. But anyway, the general principle is that the stormwater shouldn't be flushed directly into the recipient water bodies, but should take treatment in retention bodies to retain nutrients and sediment particles and other substances. What else many recommendations are aimed to prevent flooding, which really poses high risk for aquatic environment. Then, of course, one of the prerequisites is assessment of the impact over stormwater. Of course, we keep the same. Actually, it is almost transformed from the previous recommendation that the measures, and it is obvious, measures are to be applied at source to minimize contamination of stormwaters. And finally, what is really new, but it is not applicable for probably the whole catchment area. This is the recommendation to prevent or even ban any dumping over street cleaning snow to the water bodies. And I know that in many places it is already implemented. And finally, with respect over high risk stormwater management, the main recommendation here is that stormwaters from contaminated areas are to be investigated first and treated appropriately on site before discharging into any stormwater management systems. Finalizing my speech, I would say that since the recommendation so much future oriented, it includes planning stage, and the whole process is quite time consuming. Contracting parties agreed that actually this is this is the wrong slide. It was made before the last changes. So actually countries agreed that the reporting will be done in 2030, in line with the finalizing of the Baltic Sea Action Plan, which is supposed to be adopted in October. And it covers the period of 9 years until 2030. And also countries agreed that provisional format will be reviewed in 2025, when we expect to have, so to say, intermediate evaluation of the Baltic Sea Action Plan implementation and also this recommendation. So thank you for your attention, and it seems like we still have a lot to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dimitri, for showing us the way forward with the recommendation and saying which types of actions are most efficient and effective and agreed upon the political agenda, of course. So also seeing that the Baltic Sea Action Plan targets have not been reached, as you said, and stormwaters are one of the biggest contributors there for the pollution, among others, I think it's especially important to share experiences on the between the partners from the Baltic Sea region, because that's where actually the actions start. It's actually locally, so from all important undertakings of single organizations, municipalities. That's where we should kind of put more focus, and of course accelerate a little bit our efforts in implementing of the solutions and putting up a little bit more maybe ambition. But now I would like to give a floor to, or maybe mic, to Magdalena from Gdańsk University of Technology, and she will actually bring quite many of good examples of what, for example, a city, a municipality and organization can do for the better state of the sea, for the better management of stormwaters. So we will hear quite much of the green-blue infrastructure that has been launched and developed over a past couple of years in Gdańsk. And yes, Magdalena, please, the mic is yours, and we look forward to see what Gdańsk is doing in terms of nature-based solutions.
Thank you very much, Agnieszka. Good morning to everyone. It's my great privilege to be a part of this event, and I feel that, can you hear me, first of all?
Yes,
okay.
We can hear you very well.
Yeah, and I think that we are perfect on time with our webinar. And in the first, I would like to thank you very much to Dimitri for very, very good presentation, which confirmed that our region, especially Gdańsk region, is important. And what is more, all issues which we are going to deal today with them are very, very on the top, our priority of HELCOM Commission. And it makes me a bit sad that our region was in the first year of your slides was so red, so deep dark color. It means that our pressure index in our region is so high. Today I would like to express my great thanks to Gdańskie Wody company because they are decided to stay with us and show their experience with us, how it's happened that they are, in my opinion, they are very well with all this information which Dimitri gave us today about this water sensitive urban design, about the approach to stormwater management in the city. And today I hope that you will get a lot of information and a lot of nice ideas. And because we promised to have this within the BSR WATER project workshop in Gdańsk, we would like to show you a lot of movies today, and I hope you enjoy all the sessions. So not wasting more time, I would like to give the floor to, first of all, Professor Michał Szydłowski. Michał, are you with us?
Yes, I am, of course. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you very much. So please start to share your screen, because the first presentation is about development of real online time monitoring system, which actually start with the cooperation of Gdańsk Technical University. And actually, we can say that everything starts with Michał, and then Gdańskie Wody company developed the system to the scope which we have today, and then they maintain it. So Michał, the floor is yours. I think 10 minutes is dedicated to you, or even maybe less. Please take the time.
Yes, I would like to say that we have a common presentation with the Wojtek Szpakowski from Gdańskie Wody. So I would like to ask him to start the presentation now, if possible. In short words, I would like to say that, as I said, I represent the Gdańsk University of Technology, and I work at the Department of Hydraulic Engineering. Okay,
Perfect.
I hope that the presentation is visible now. Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you. So once again, I represent the Gdańsk University of Technology, Department of Hydraulic Engineering, and Wojtek Szpakiewski represent Gdańskie Wody. And shortly speaking, today we would like to show you the example of the good cooperation, I think, between Gdańskie Wody and Gdańsk University of Technology in building the hydrometeo monitoring system. And I would like to ask Wojtek to start to show you the history of the system. Wojtek, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Michał. Thank you very much, Magda. Let's start. Of course, first words should be concerned to the location of Gdańsk and the problem of water and stormwater. You see the country of Gdańsk. It's over 250 square kilometers. The elevation more than 180 meters. We have Kashubian Lakeland, and we have also depression concerned with the mouth of Vistula and this region. So in Gdańsk lives nearly 500,000 residents. And the serious problem with stormwater is noted at the beginning of the present century. We have 4 events with daily rain more than 100 millimeters, and the record is noted in 260. During the 16 hours, we noted 170 millimeters. It's the highest sum recorded in the whole Poland territory, except the mountain region. Now we have also some flash floods. So the system of monitoring was started in 2001, and of course the objectives was to know the phenomena of the precipitation, to implementing actions, new actions supporting the crisis management to be better with the crisis time. Of course, to informing residents about the dangers, so we must know the sum of the intensity of rain and the area of rain. Of course, this data collected from nearly 20 years are very useful for the hydraulic and hydrological models. And of course, the monitoring of the condition of water device is also a very important part of the monitoring system. We have some measure of water level of our reservoirs, and in case of problem we see the rapid increase of or decreasing the water level. Of course, the idea is also to create local precipitation formulas to better design of water devices, and also the city's liability for damage caused by the rain events is a topic very important after the critical issues. So the system history starts in 2000. The first automatic unit for water level measurements was created in the Strzyża 1 year later, we have some first automatic rain collector, and this is the city pressure to measure this watershed, because this Strzyża watershed is the one of the hardest location in Gdańsk. Of course, it was the first collector, so we had some problems with unstable work, power supply, and during the first catastrophic rain in this century, the 9th of July, 20 years ago, we had some problem with the data collection, so our information are from the national system and also the Gdańsk University pluviographs. So during the next years, Gdańsk Water with the City of Gdańsk mounted 7 automatic rain collectors in the different places, and this is the base units for the system in Gdańsk. And the next step was the cooperation with Gdańsk University of Technology, and some words I think Michał will better describe.
Yes. So in the years 2011 and 13, we have started the cooperation between university and the Gdańskie Wody, with the collaboration with the Provincial Fund for the Environmental Protection and Water Management in Gdańsk. So we undertook the implementation of the stormwater monitoring system in the Strzyża basin. We have chosen this pilot basin because it is as Wojtek said, one of the hardest one. And it was possible to start the project, which was called Monitoring, Modeling and Analysis of the Flood Risk in a Small Urban Catchment. It was, as I said, Strzyża case study. And in the frame of this project, it was possible to buy and to install the 5 new water level measurement points, 1 water flow rate measurement point, and 3 rain gauges. And it took 2 years to start with this system, and we have started the collection of the data about the precipitation and data about the outflow from the catchment. So it was a beginning, and 2 years later we have started the second project related to the Strzyża basin. It was called Stormwater and Snowmelt Runoff Storage Control and Flash Flood Hazard Forecasting in the Urbanized Coastal Basin. Again, it was the project between two cooperators. It means Gdańskie Wody and our university. And again, it was founded by the Provincial Fund for the Environmental Protection and Water Management in Gdańsk. In the frame of this project, we can install 8 new water level measurement points in the Strzyża basins, especially in the retention reservoirs, and we have started to build the hydrological model of the precipitation outflow modeling problem. And Wojtek, next slide, please. Shortly, the results of cooperation. After completion of these 2 projects, all measurement stations were taken over by the Gdańsk Water, and they were included into the municipal monitoring system. So it is a profit for the city, of course. On the other side, thanks to the municipal meteo and hydrological database, the scientists from our university can conduct research on the changes in the hydrological processes in the urban basins. So it is a great profit for us, for university. And again, results of the research of course, are made available in the form of many publications and reports, and thanks to which the Gdańsk Water, the Gdańskie Wody, can develop a stormwater management strategy. So I think it is a good example of cooperation and interchange the know-how between university and the Gdańskie Wody. And here you can see the list of example publications, and some PhD thesis was done using this database. Okay, Wojtek, you can continue. Thank you.
It can be said that the result of this cooperation is also my position in Gdańsk Water, because the close cooperation is also the personal cooperation. So the next steps was to localization the weight rain collectors, the best, and the results are, I think, the most stable. So it was in 2016 3 new location, and the huge improvement of our system was done in 2017 and 18 when we installed, thanks to European funds, 55 new water level units, meteorological station in the center of Gdańsk, and new weight rain collectors. So we used it with technical standard of the Institute of Meteorology and Water Management, and this weight collectors now are, I think, the best as a local system in Poland. The present situation is seen in this graph, when you can see the rain collectors and the level water units. We have now a cooperation with cities close to the Gdańsk, Gdynia, Sopot, with PEWIK company, which installed rain gauges in Wejherowo, Rumia, and this is the very important for all works and inform about the precipitation in the whole Gdańsk agglomeration. The problems, the challenges, of course, you see, this is pollution, devastation, data transmission errors, calibration, data registration errors. So we have in Gdańsk Water some group of persons which occupy the maintenance of the system, and some problems are rapidly repaired. The role of the system is very important, and you can see the July 2017, when we had rain more than 100 in 40 hours. And thanks to this system, we prepared a good water management, and there were no damages in the city. You see this Strzyża system and reservoirs Kełpinek and Srebrniki, and also you see the Matemblewo culvert. This is the part, the border between the forest and the urban part, the lowest part of the Strzyża stream. And you see, thanks to this system, we saw that 85 millimeters after the first 20 hours gives us a very huge level in this Srebrniki reservoir. and we decided to block the flow from the upper terrace to the down city. And in the Srebrniki, we reached the water level, equal the emergency overflow. But this was the huge level, and there were no damages like 1 year area. So you see, because the last 2 years, maybe not 2 years, but the years 2018-19, we had some flash flood episodes, and you see this episode from the 11th of May, when during the 30 minutes we noted more than 30 millimeters, nearly 40 millimeters. And you see here the 3 national system meteorological station, and their points were outside the event, rain event. So the net of our rain collectors are very important, because the small flash floods, rain more intensive, are not registered by the national system. And the next, you see the highest value. It was the 1st of August 2080. In 60 minutes, we registered in one station more than 50 millimeters. So of course it was some perturbation in the system in Gdańsk. And very interesting situation was the 10th of June of not this year, but 2 years ago. Sorry for the mistake. When we noted 2 flash floods during the 3 hours. The total sum of rain was 40-60 millimeters. We have also some advantages of the system. For example, the very speed information about social media and the media of Gdańskie Wody, Gdańsk Water are huge audience, more than 10,000 people, and this information is very rapid, very important during the rain moment. And that's why Gdańsk started to change the rainwater management policy. It will be shown in the next presentation. The moment was the year 2018, when the stormwater was not counted in the legal law as wastewater, but as a source which we should manage, not the water, the area from the stormwater. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope this presentation was interesting.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I think that a lot of issue was touched here, and I hope that a lot of questions arise, but we don't have time now for question. So please, if you have any question, please write your question in the chat or wait to the very last end of our first session. I hope that the gentlemen stay with us. And now I would like to give the floor to President of Gdańskie Wody Company, Mr. Ryszard Gajewski. Ryszard, the floor is yours. Please start to share the screen.
Thank you. Okay, it's a great pleasure to have the possibility to present you our experience from Gdańsk about the stormwater management. Our company Gdańskie Wody is dealing with stormwater management, and the area of Gdańsk is responsible for that issue. Let's start from a little bit of history. In 2001, we faced a flood in Gdańsk. There were many damages in city infrastructure. It was during several hours. It was rain about 140 millimeters. And 15 years ago, we have 15 years later from this event, we have again a big rainfall, which was about 170 millimeters. But and then also it was also many damages. But in the meantime, city implemented many water reservoirs, so the damages were not so big as 15 years before. So we can say that such events we expect will occur in Gdańsk very often. So we face the climate change. And we also observe from our monitoring system that this intensity of rainfall is increasing. And we also observe the new phenomenon, which is microbursts. And as a result of this microbursts, the flash flood. So these events are connected with very big amount of rain in a short time. You can see on the screen that we had in 2018 in May we have 30 millimeters of rainfall during 30 minutes, and in the same time few kilometers from that area there was not rainfall at all. So this is this new phenomenon we have to also face. When we think about the business of stormwater management, we have to also take into consideration the climate change, and we think that we should rather start to name it adaptation to climate change, because this is not only stormwater management. And let me analyze this sentence. What does it mean? How we should treat it? So the climate change is a kind of change in our environment, which is very substantial change, and we have to adapt it. So this is the second part of the sentence. Adapt, which means some kind of adjustment and necessity of in change of our behavior. And this is very important because very often I met people who think they can do still business as usual and name it adaptation to climate change. It's not possible. We have to change something. So when we think about the change of the approach, what is our aim, what we want to achieve, because this our drainage system and I think in many cities are overloaded, so we have to relieve the rainwater drainage system. We want to stop and delay the flow, and we want to retain as much water as possible close to the place it rains. So we can also, and we want to use rainwater for greenery watering in order to prevent from drought. And this is also quality issue, and we can use nature-based solutions. We can use greenery to treat the rainwater. So so we formulated a new approach in Gdańsk, and the previous approach, we can name it to get rid of the water, because and it is in many places I think still exists this approach, which means fast collection of rainwater by means of street inlets, and quick drainage of water through rainwater drainage system. Our new approach, we can name it retain the water. So it means to hold the precipitation close to the place when it rains, and we want to only excess rain to the rainwater drainage system. So we want to excess rain go only to the rainwater drainage system. So as a result of this new approach, so we formulated 3 levels of rainwater management, and first level is concentrated at the property area. Second level is a bigger scale, is urban system, and third level is crisis management when these 2 levels are insufficient. So starting from the first level in concentrate of retention at property area, so it is addressed to the mainly to the owners, and we demand and we want to retain 30 millimeters of rain when the property has connection to the rainwater system, and if not 60 millimeters, and also when there is difficult catchment area. This rule also applies to roads and public places. How we implement this level? So by means of nature-based solutions, as rain gardens, bioswales, retention parks, we implement our company implementing these solutions as demo sites, and we want to show people show to investors that it's possible, that you can do it as well, and it's working. More about this tools will be in the next presentation. And also we think that these tools can be implemented on 5 different scale. So starting from the property, so this is the smallest scale. Then the bigger scale is district area, where bigger solutions can be objects. The bigger objects can be implemented. Then we have streets, where along the streets or between pavement and the road, we can implement by means of greenery different solutions to retain stormwater. And the biggest scale is our water reservoirs. So this is also part of retention, green retention system. And of course, we have to always remember about city greenery, because this is itself a big retention reservoir. The second level of our system is are this water reservoirs. So when this first level is insufficient and water goes, then water goes by means of drainage system to the water reservoirs, and this is the last place where we can stop the water. These reservoirs are designed for the rain which occur once per 100 years. And we have quite a big system of water reservoirs in the city. There are 54 such reservoirs, and as you can see, we try to design it in a way that they look like ponds. They don't look like concrete objects. They look like ponds or natural lakes. The third level of our system, it's a crisis management when the water is bigger, because always can happen. So we have to be prepared for quick response, and this city services are concentrated on protection of buildings against flooding, pumping water from flooded places, unblocking grades and inlets. So this is this last level of protection, which is important in order to minimize the damages in city infrastructure. Of course, our system is supported by our urban monitoring system, which was the topic of the former presentation. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Sorry to say so, but you didn't manage to save our time. So now it should be the presentation of Agnieszka Kowalkiewicz, but she had a certain health issue, so we cross fingers for her. She's in a hospital, and we wish her to come back to us as quick as possible. But Dr. Małgorzata Drewnowska promised to do her best today in the morning. So please, Małgorzata, share the screen, and I know that you do as good as Agnieszka. So the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. I will try to do my best. I will share my screen now. Okay. The presentation was made by my colleague Agnieszka Kowalkiewicz. She is the head of the climate change adaptation. I will try to replace her and tell you something about the tools to implement the blue-green infrastructure in our city. The basic idea is to direct the precipitation to green areas because, as you can see on the photo, the natural balance is where the evapotranspiration occurs and as well as infiltration. When we have the urban water balance, you can see that this natural process is disturbed because there is a lot of wastewater discharged. The quality of the water discharge is low, and the infiltration is reduced, as well as the evapotranspiration. We are trying to use the green areas to retain the water in the city, and direct only the excess amount into the traditional stormwater drainage system. We want to have the city which will be adapted to the climate change. Therefore, we use the water sensitive urban design, where we use a nature-based solution to manage the water, the storm water. Therefore, the infiltration increases, the evapotranspiration increases, and the stormwater quality is better. Lake in the city is never a good idea. Therefore, as I mentioned before, we do everything to adapt the city for such unexpected situation, excess flooding, excess rainfalls. We want that green infrastructure is not the incident, but a system. The green infrastructure should be a connected system. Should be such self-sufficient as it is possible, should be multifunctional, should create beautiful areas and improve the biodiversity in the city. Our city currently has one of the most developed network of blue infrastructure, and we are the leaders in establishing small retention facilities. The tools and good practices used to develop this green-blue infrastructure we show on example of our beautiful rain gardens. The first step is always planning. Firstly, we do site analysis. We use models. We have, for example, a flat screener. We were the first company. Our specialists had the opportunity to test it for the first time, and we have made some models that is a very important tool when we want to plan some small retention facilities. We also do field inspections. We use geographic information system, and of course analysis of the planning documents and city policies or flood hazard maps. Here you can see the maps from the flat screener. This maps was made for the whole city and for the rainfall of 60 and 100 millimeters. Step 2 is the site selection. Most of the criteria is the range of influence, neighborhood, district, and frequency of the flooding occurrence. And step 3, implementation of the demonstration. We are inviting residents and children who are very enjoying such activities to create rain gardens with us. Children are helping us. They also have the opportunity to learn more about climate change, the solutions to adapt the city for this climate change. And I think it is a very, they had a lot of fun and learning simply. The fourth step is to promote the demonstrator. We want to catch the media attention, to introduce some change, and we want to convince those who are still unconvinced by this idea to create rain gardens in the city. Here you can see some our articles in press and in other media. And the last five step is clearly define the objectives of the new policy. We have the handbook of the small retention policy. And we have made a lot of meetings, discussions, and workshops to create it. We always make consultations with not only with municipal representatives, but also with district councils and inhabitants. Here are some photos from our workshops, conferences, also our handbook, the rain garden in 5 steps. That make it possible to show how easy it is to create the rain garden. I think that everybody can do it on their self. And step 6 is to educate the current and future staff. The good practice is to cooperate with universities. I am wondering if I shouldn't ask for help Professor Magdalena Gajewska to tell something about this cooperation now.
Yes, thank you very much. So since 3 years we cooperate with different cities, and in the last year we start the collaboration with Gdańskie Wody, and our students prepare the blue-green infrastructure system for this. As you can see here in the middle, it is a tram stop, actually the end stop of the tram, when you can see a lot of places which could be flooded during the flood events. And here you have a different approach given by our students during our lectures, and they elaborate different solutions with blue-green infrastructure, and sometimes very nice, and I hope that part of them will be introduced in the city. So I will give back floor to you, Małgorzata. Thank you.
Here I have, thank you, Professor Magdalena. I have here some photos, also the workshops with the students from Gdańsk University of Technology were made during the creation of one of our rain gardens. And the step 7 is searching for the new sources of funding. One of the good practice is to have the separate green civic budget from which such activities as small retention systems, rain gardens can be financed. I would like to thank you for your attention, and now I would like to invite you for video from the creation of one of our rain gardens located in the strict city center. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Małgorzata. You did perfect as usual. So thank you very much. Now it's time for visiting rain gardens. The first of this visit you already have, actually the point 2. So we have 2 more movies, and we are going to go for 2 location. First, the first location is actually a bit very big system, which was today mentioned already. The first one, which was construct, and this system impressed a lot people from Netherlands. You can see here this schematic how it look like, because as you can see, it's over 1 hectare of the area which is drainaged into the system. Here you have some picture, and you can observe that 30 millimeters should be kept in the system, as it was previously said, and the over 30 millimeters is discharged to the stormwater network, as you can see. So the system is designed in this way. Now I would like you to show the movie. I don't know if I managed to do this. No, I couldn't. So maybe we go through my presentation, and then I will ask for help to show the movie. It's not working on my computer. So very sorry, but please keep in mind that this is the system which was introduced in as a first one, and actually the movie was, as you can see here, it was done by Professor Floris Bogart. He is also one of our experts in BSR WATER platform. He represents Delft University of Technology and Hanseatic Deltares, and he was with this colleague of his visiting our university, and during the visiting he asked us to show the rain gardens, and he was very impressed, and then he put all this information on a climate cafe point. So next is the construction of rain gardens. Next movie, actually this movie you already have seen, because now I would like to show how difficult was this, because it's always very difficult when you construct the infrastructure in existing city. Here you have a very nice and very modern forum center, and here is the traffic junctions, as you can see here, and the rain garden was planted here in the street. Here you have the view how it was look like before. We have here only the grass, as you can see. So it's, in my opinion, it's not biodiversity. And by creating the rain gardens, also the biodiversity was improved, and this is the view how it will look like before the construction. Here you have the visualization how the system will look like, and where from the rainwater will be directed into the into rain garden. And very important in this case is that some technical solutions which was introduced by the first time, because the water, the rainwater was directed from the road, and we expect a lot of salty during the winter period. So there are some nice equipment to protect the plant against the salinity. And you can see that we have three compartments, let's say, with different level, and this is a kind of nice installation. Again, the same pictures, we can skip it together with students. We visited this during the construction, because I think that for students it's very important to see how this construction look like, and my students also enjoy a lot planting the plants. And the next movie, the last movie, is actually done by people from my university in cooperation with Gdańskie Wody. It's for housing assets. It's designed by a colleague of us, and it is designed according to guidelines given by Gdańskie Wody. So you can see the example how it works really in case of how these tools could be implemented in reality. And for the movie, important is also this graph on the right, because the part of the movie is with thermovision camera, and you can see where it's very light yellow. You can see that it's hot, and when it's dark, more dark blue or violet, you can see that it's colder place. And in this movie, you can observe that this is working actually like that. This blue-green infrastructure could mitigate heat island effect. And I would like you to leave with some kind of quotation that efficient stormwater urban surface retention system might provide retention in many dimensions, and in which all retention levels are equally important and complementary to each other. And in the same time, such multi-level retention needs to provide as many as possible ecosystem service. So thank you for your attention. I hope you got a lot of information. And now I would ask Maria, I think, or maybe Agnieszka, to help me with the movie.
So I'm sharing now, hopefully, the screen with how the case looks in the Climate Cafe.
Yes, perfect. You can see that really Professor Bogart was impressed, and he really show how this look like. And now I think it's enough to press the video button. Now we go for this residential area designed according to guidelines of Gdańsk Water. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy these virtual trips. I think that we can place the links to this movie on the website, and I hope that you will manage to see it again and again. I noticed that there are some questions in the chat, but please, I would prefer to go with our presentation, because I know that some of our presenters has another duties. We are a bit over the time, so now we are still in management of stormwater, but we keep to a bit different issues. And now I would like to ask on behalf of NOAH project, I would like to ask Rafał Ulańczyk to present the presentation about extreme weather layer as a tool for smart design of Brooklyn infrastructure, which we elaborate together with our colleague from different universities. NOAH project is led by Caltech University, and I noticed that also Hanna is with us from NOAH. I don't know if she's still with us, but I hope so. So, Rafał, the screen is yours.
At the beginning, I would like to say some shortly
okay, perfect.
About the main goals of the project. Yeah.
Perfect.
NOAH project was, or rather is, because the project is still in progress, aggregating the partners with the same interest to reducing urban pollution of Baltic Sea. And this reducing is by the improving spatial planning and operation of existing urban drainage systems. Both, it means passive and active methods like holistic urban planning, real-time control of urban drainage system are the main goals of the project. And this approach required a model of the sewage system, and in this case, in Poland case, it was the model of the Słupsk sewage network, and one of the tasks was to create the extreme water levels. The presentation about this part of the project was made by Dr. Ulańczyk, Rafał Ulańczyk. Rafale, the floor, screen, microphone is yours.
Yeah, may I add only a few words that it was very difficult to find the city with at least part of combined sewer system. That's why we are not realizing this in Gdańsk, because in Gdańsk we have separate sewer system and stormwater system. That's why we moved to Słupsk when the part of this system is combined. Because we would like also to indicate how dangerous are the spillage of from combined sewer overflow for Baltic Sea region. Okay, so Rafał, the screen and the microphone is yours.
So the thing I would like to show you is about another city, Słupsk, but it is not totally separated issue from what is happening in Gdańsk, and I will tell some more about these links at the final part of the presentation. So what is the extreme weather layer we have developed in the NOAH project? It is something that is used in different projects and cities that participate in our project, but the name we call one of outputs from our project is extreme weather layer, and this is a combination of hydraulic modeling and spatial planning. It is not only something that can be used for the identification of locations of urban flooding, but a tool which can help in more efficient spatial planning of urban areas. It can not only show where and when the flooding will occur, but also it can be used for evaluating some different development strategies in the city. This tool is validated in 8 cities participating in the NOAH project, and one of the cities is Słupsk. And here you can see the main steps in the implementation of extreme weather layers. So to prepare this planning tool, we need to, the steps are quite similar to those presented in the presentation before mine. There were 7 or 8, 9 steps. And here we can see a little bit less, but the scope of activities is very similar. So first of all, we have to prepare inputs, then develop a hydraulic model, define climate scenarios to be analyzed, and finally identify places where the flooding will occur. And this flooding should be categorized with some classes, which in each city will be different based on expectations of the municipality. When the extreme weather layer is ready, it can be used for various purposes, and these purposes are shown on the bottom of the screen. It can be used to adjust the planning in the city and to test different scenarios of the spatial planning, and to evaluate if after the implementation of some strategies, there will be still remaining flood risk. And then the cycle can be iterated again, and the spatial planning can be virtually, at least in the first phase, it can be virtually improved. Now I will go through all the steps, but it will be quite quick because we do not have much time. All the pictures and data sets which are presented here are related to the city of Słupsk, for which the system was, this tool was implemented in Poland. And the first step was the preparation of inputs. These inputs, it is important, they are different from city, going from city to city. They will be different because different will be expectations of all cities. First of all, we have to decide if we analyze all the city or some part which is affected mostly by heavy rainfalls. In Słupsk, we analyzed almost all entire city. It was over 22 square kilometers. Then we have to define what is the objective of this tool. Do we have to have calculations done for all manholes, for drainage area of all manholes? Do we need to have the flooding calculated in 3 dimensions? I mean, to calculate the spatial extent of flooding of each manhole, or is it enough to calculate the flooding for some sub-areas of the city? The second attempt was adapted in the Słupsk, which we have divided into several hundred of sub-catchments. Before we start preparation of the extreme weather layer, we have to gather a lot amount of spatial data describing the drainage system. We need to collect all information that affect the flow in the sewage system. So the most important is geometry of the system and parameters affecting the flow in the system. So material age or some other features. When we have described the sewer system, we need to describe also the drainage area or areas in the city, because different parts of the city can contribute with different types of inflows. For example, in Słupsk, we have combined sewer system in part of the city, the orange areas, and we have separated systems in the green area shown on the picture. So we have to calculate inflows from both types of these sources, and to do this, we need to have parameters affecting the flow, the surface runoff, for example, in all of subcatchments. So this is, for example, slopes and percent of impervious areas in all catchments. And the thing we need mostly in such analysis, the information about inflows. First of all, it will be precipitation. In extreme weather layers, we analyze rain events of various duration and probability of occurrence. This characteristic events can be calculated based on long-term observations in the city or near the city. In addition to this, we can use in extreme weather layers a longer periods of observations. And in Słupsk, these observations are based on 6 new rain gauges installed in 2019 as a part of the NOAA project. So in addition to this rain events, separated rain events, we also analyzed what happened in the entire 2020 in terms of flooding and flows in the system. We have also some other inflows to the system. It is infiltration, which occur in most of drainage system in cities. But also in some cities, we have also production of wastewater in cities where combined sewer system occurs. For this wastewater inflows, we have prepared a temporal patterns based on observations of the flow rate in the sewer system in dry seasons. All the input data was put to the hydraulic model. In all cities participating in the NOAA project, the model was stormwater management model. And in case of Słupsk, the model was validated using the hourly outflows from the sewer system, and the validation gave us quite satisfactory scores in terms of the correlation and Nash subjective efficiency coefficient, both for dry periods when only the wastewater flows in the system and wet periods when heavy rain occurred. And the final phase of the preparation of extreme water layer was the definition of climate scenarios which will be analyzed in this tool. For Słupsk, we have chosen RCP 4.5 and more severe RCP 8.5 scenarios, and we analyzed 2 time horizons from 2051 to 2016 and more distant from 2091 to 2100. For both scenarios, we expect increase in the precipitation, and we analyzed at the first phase of the implementation of extreme weather layer, we analyzed a rainfall of 20 minutes duration and rainfall of 2 probabilities, occurring once for 2 years and once for 20 years. And on the chart below, you can see the total sum of the rainfall during such events in the city of Słupsk. And on this slide, we can see the exact extreme weather layer. What is it? This is a presentation of the flood risk in the city. This kind of presentation can have various formats. Here we can see maps presenting spots with 3 colors, green, orange, and red, which present different levels of the flood risk. And we can see a numbers of manholes affected by this flood risk in various climate scenarios. This data outputs can be visualized in different ways. You can see the movie presenting some hotspots in the city, but this is not all we can have from such a tool. We can see not only the where and how much water will occur as the effect of the flooding, but we can see the flooding process. The chart on the right side of the slide present the total overflow from the drainage system, from the sewer system in Słupsk to Słupia River during this analyzed rain events and different and various climate scenarios. The extreme weather layer in Słupsk was also used not only to identify the places where flood can occur, but also on the request of the company, which is is administrating of the sewer system in sewer system in Słupsk. On their request, we have prepared also a calculation what part of total inflow to the wastewater treatment plant originates from something else than wastewater. Because in some cities, not only a flooding and overflow is an adverse effect of heavy rainfall, but also the efficiency of treatment process in treatment plants. Because during heavy rainfalls, we have increased inflow to the treatment plant and it affects the processes occurring there. So we have calculated in various subcatchments of the city. We can here see 12 of such subcatchments. And for these subcatchments, we have calculated what part of the inflow generated in these subcatchments originates from infiltration and runoff inflow to sewer system. And we can see that in various months and subcatchments, it ranges from 0% of inflow to even 60% of the inflow. The total yearly inflow in 2020, for example, inflow of stormwater to the system was over 30% in Słupsk. And it will be the almost last slide of my presentation. We can see something which is a link here between Gdańsk and Słupsk, not only the link in a form of University of Technology, which is responsible for all these works. This is something we have analyzed for Słupsk, and it is based on what is happening in Gdańsk right now, because in Gdańsk there is quite ambitious goal to retain at least 30 millimeters of the rainfall from all impervious areas of new developments in the city. So this is very attractive goal, and we have checked what would be in Słupsk if it would be implemented to some extent. So we have analyzed it using the extreme weather layer, a situation where this goal, 30 millimeters, would be applied only for a small part of the city, the part which is in the area of combined sewer system, and only for the impervious areas of this part. And the results are quite satisfactory. Again, we can see that such strategy would result in the reduction of the total overflow to Słupia River. It would be reduced to 0 in the case of rainfall of the 50% probability, and it would be reduced to even to 60% in case of the rainfall of 5% of probability. The total flooding in the city also would be reduced significantly. And the last slide presents the same scenarios compared. On the left, we have current situation. On the right, we have this scenario with some improved retention in the central part of the city. And the top charts present overflow to the Słupia River in time of the rainfall event. And in the bottom part of the chart, we can see what part of the inflow to the main storage tank just before the outflow to the overflow to the Słupia River, what part of the inflow is retained in this storage tank. And that is all very shortly presented extreme weather layers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rafał, for very brilliant presentation, and thank you for your great job you did for the project, for all team. And now I would like, with great pleasure, to introduce you to the next speaker, Professor Aneta Łuczkiewicz from Gdańsk University of Technology. She will briefly tell us about currently running project at our university, also project from Interreg. So Aneta, please, the screen and the mic is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Magdalena, first of all, for invitation visa project to this BSR meeting. So first of all, I would like to present myself. My name is Aneta Łuczkiewicz. I am from Gdańsk University of Technology. And I'm very sorry that the visa participants cannot participate in this meeting, because actually at the same time we have our project meeting. So probably I will be the only participant in the BSR platform meeting. But anyway, I would like to present you the visa project and our findings, because visa project is just the acronym of Water Innovation System Amplifier, and the project is financed by Interreg South Baltic program and is running until 2022. So we are, in the middle of the project, and because of the COVID, we have some not done work package yet. And the leader partner is Kirinova incubator, and other project partners are Port of Aarhus from Sweden and Municipality of Hasselholm, also from Sweden, Klaipėda University from Lithuania, Port of Gdynia from Poland, and Gdańsk University of Technology. And the main goal of the visa project was to develop and implement technology that reduce the emission of nutrients and other pollutants from port areas to the coastal waters of the Baltic Sea. And at the very beginning, I would like to tell you what was the inspiration to undertake this project. So the inspiration was the HELCOM draft report about the potential sources of nutrient inputs, and it was about the handling of the fertilizers. And this report was based mainly on the findings presented by the report of Coalition Clean Baltic, that the findings were that nutrient losses can really appear in ports, mainly from the ship loading and unloading operation, especially if the equipment is outdated, from the temporary open storage, and from the improper stormwater management. And just to give you the imagine about the rough estimation how the losses can influence the Baltic Sea quality, it was estimated that from dry cargo handling and shipping, we can lose about 0.05%. So it seems to be not much. But if you compare to the load of the fertilizers that are handled in the Baltic ports, so it's reaching almost 70 tons of the fertilizer each year. And here you can see the map from the Clean Baltic report, and it was the map where you can see the ports which are handling the fertilizers on the Baltic Sea. And here also is the graph taken from that report. We can see the ports which are really participating in that losses. They are like Klaipėda port and St. Petersburg. But then you can see 3 Polish ports, Gdańsk, Gdynia, and Szczecin. So we can also feel as a Poland that we should do something in this area. And here you can see also another graph, another table from that report, where you can see the turnover of the cargo, fertilizers, and the potential losses. But unfortunately, if you read the report, also you can see that in case of the Poland, there is really lack of data even about the fertilizer cargo, which is handled in the Polish ports. So we can say that this accurate estimation is really missing, and therefore we should take some actions to maybe fill the gap. And when we have the proper estimation, then we can undertake the mitigation actions. So this is the structure of the visa project, and work package 3 is connected with the stormwater co-learn, which means try to find out what are real parameters of the stormwater in different ports. Then we have like try to find out how we can mitigate the problem of this discharge, these contaminants from the ports, and then prototype and business modeling. And currently we are almost done with the work package 3. And at the very beginning, I would like to show you how complex is this topic, because we have found like 3 main challenges, like sampling approach and how to sample, where to sample, and what parameters we should focus on. And maybe you can think that it's just the trivial questions or trivial challenges, but actually they are not trivial. And I would like to show you on the example of Gdynia port that it's quite difficult to handle these challenges. So first of all, I would like to show you the map of the Gdynia port, where you can see the terminals and the cargo which is handled on these terminals. So they are from ferry terminals or containers terminals to the bulk cargo, palm oil, and stuff like this. And the other thing which is very important about the port of Gdynia is that Gdynia authority, port authority, is only the owner of the land and leases the terminals to different companies, and that companies are not obliged to report what kind of transshipment they are doing. So they are not reporting what they are going to do or what they are handling right now. So this is also the lack of the information of the potential run of water quality. And another quite important topic is that the complexity of the system, because here we have like 64 catchments area and 64 outlets. And this is like a huge area as well. So the total length of the total length of the system is 27 kilometers. So also we have like information that authority of the port has a separate water law permits for each outlet, and in general it's a limit of the total suspended solid which shouldn't exceed 1,100 milligram per liter, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons which shouldn't exceed 15 milligram per liter. I would like to show you something what we can call like like archive data that show you the results, the range of the different contaminants which we can find in the reports of Gdynia port from 1990s until now. Oh, sorry, one more thing. Just to achieve these permits, there are pre-treatment devices. Mainly this is like separators and settling tanks. They are located pure to each outlet, and they are cleaned twice a year by an external company. And also the monitoring of the stormwater is done by the external company also twice a year. And here you can see the data I was talking about. So this is like a historical data from 1990s. You can see the ranges of the contaminants in different outlets. So you can see the total suspended solids can sometimes achieve quite high values. And so this is a kind of picture what we can face to. But of course, we would like also to get our own data. And in the first challenge, sampling approach and how to sample, we have also some questions like how to jointly get reliable data in ports, or how to make the complexity of the sampling less complex. So if we would like to focus on grab sampling, which sometimes can be think as a maybe more feasible, then we have to imagine that the port is really huge place and there are a lot of traffic. It's a really busy place as well. And there are so many outlets that the logistic problem, we cannot take the sample at the same time in that area. So this is obvious. And another thing is that we are not allowed to take the samples because this is an external company who is doing so. So first flush is probably not always collected. Another thing is that the outlets, depending on the level of the sea, are very often submerged, so partly or fully, and sometimes the backwash of the marine water can reach even the settling tank. So this is quite important information. But anyway, we decided to focus on some outlets just to get any idea what are the quality of this runoff water. And the results we can show you. And unfortunately, fortunately, phosphorus is not such a big, let's say, problem here. But of course, we can see some problems with nitrogen and some problems with chemical oxygen demand. And also we can observe the backwash of marine water because we have been analyzing the chlorides. And having this information, we decided to design autosampler which could provide us more detailed information about the rainwater quality with time, how it changed with time depending on the rain intensity, depending on different aspects connected with the other things related to the port, like cargo handling and stuff like this. So we decided to choose 2 points, and as in the real life, there are also some challenges connected with the auto-sampling, because first of all, is where to locate the auto-sampler to have this representative or worst scenario results, because the auto-sampler has to be safe. And as I said, this is really busy place, and there are a lot of trucks running every day in the port area. And of course, it needs a power supply. So this is another challenge. And another thing is that the equipment shouldn't be influenced or even destroyed by the inflow of seawater, or the analysis cannot be impacted by the seawater backwash. And so, and another thing is the sampling, how to design the sampling, how the samples should be taken to provide us the information, since you cannot foresee how the rainwater will, what kind of the intensity of the rainwater you will have. So our idea to design this autosampler is a kind of prototype, and this device has been adapted for online monitoring. So some parameters we will have like online monitoring, and other we would like to analyze in lab. So this is also a possibility to collect the samples and to analyze them later on in the laboratory condition. So here you can see how the implementation of the autosampler looked like. It was in late March, but it was still very cold in Poland. So it was still a bit challenging for us. But anyway, we can say that we can analyze conductivity, redox potential, pH, ammonium, nitrogen, and chemical oxygen demand online. And this autosampler is located in that point, so can give us the information about the rainwater in this area. And another thing, having the information about the more detailed information about the rainwater quality, we can go to the next work package with it, which is connected with the solution, how to mitigate that problem. And of course, as everywhere, the main strategy which is used is just the prevention, source limitation, and then end-of-pipe treatment. So in the prevention, we have big support from the Race for the Baltic project. And I think that I have seen Fanny Tam in this meeting. So yes, we really rely on the data which were obtained in that project. And this is big support for us. So thank you, Fanny, once again. And another thing is the storage, open storage, which is quite often take place in Poland. So this is like a source limitation. And end of pipe the treatment will be we are just approaching this work package. So we hope that we can provide you more information soon. And at the end, I would like to show you my team, which is big support. Really, I would like to thank them all. And thank you also for your attention. Thank you very much. And I will be happy to answer the question if you have any.
Thank you, Aneta. Very brilliant presentation as usual. And with this, we end our first session. Once again, I would like to say my great thanks to all speakers, especially people from Gdańskie Wody Company and colleague of mine from my university. And once again, we can assume that management, stormwater management is very complex, involve a lot of aspects, and I am very happy that in the chat we have a nice conversation. I think that Agnieszka, maybe we can now go to this chat and discuss these questions, or if you have any other idea, because we have only 8 minutes left to yes, the end of our session. We prolong a bit, but I don't have heart to stop people, because all presentations were so well prepared and so interesting in so many aspects, and it seems that the chat is full of nice conversation. So
absolutely, Magda. I think we could take perhaps a couple of questions which were unanswered from the chat, or if any of the speakers would like to elaborate a little bit more, so please just unmute. I know there has been questions about the maintenance of rain gardens and the discussion about this topic, and as well as some pollutants and salinity. So perhaps one of our speakers would like to take up and elaborate on that.
Yeah, plant protection against salinity and frozen, and how complex is the maintenance of rain gardens. So I don't want to point it out who should answer these questions. Maybe some volunteers from Gdańskie Wody Company. Maybe Małgorzata. Małgorzata, are you still with us?
Yes, I am here with you. I have wrote something in our chat about this, because when it goes to the saline water, in winter we have the inlet to the basins of the rain gardens blocked. In the places where there is a risk that this saline water may do harm for the plants, for example, where we have the road. And some of our rain gardens have also the linear drainage that works only in the winter, and this saline water they're not directed to the plants, and they are safe. And we of course are trying to design the green areas, our rain gardens, and select the plants that are resistant to the harsh conditions, and also for the saline water.
Yes. Thank you very much. The next question was about who is running these rain gardens, and the answer from the president of Gdańskie Wody Company is that actually Gdańskie Wody Company is running this. It's not so complicated, and I may add that this is a kind of also a new idea that blue-green infrastructure provide a lot of ecosystem service, which is good for our environment, but also provide a kind of new job creation, new working place, because a new people will be needed in the city who can handle with rain gardens. Next question was from Sylvia Vara, colleague of mine. Nice to see you again, Sylvia. And the question was, how many years do you assume that the rain gardens can be used before they need to be renovated, replaced? And the answer is that rain gardens needs less and less maintenance from year to year. And I must have to say that I agree with this, and the information about nature-based solutions are like this, that actually nature-based solution could last at least 30 years or even more. So in this period of time, I think that all money which was invested, actually not so big money, are paid back. So this is one of the most important information for the decision makers and company who run stormwater management. So I think that all these questions I've answered already. Maybe new one arise or not. Maybe some more questions from the audience.
I can try to answer last question about if we have experienced problem during the winter. So I can say that we are developing these solutions, and they are really different and depend on the local conditions. For example, we try to design in that way that the overflow from the rain gardens is always to the drainage system. So we prevent in that way the area around rain garden. So when this can be full, so it's the water comes to the system, and we have no experience any problems during the winter time.
Yes, I can say also that this winter we had half a meter of snow, and the time of snow was 1 month, and there were no problem detected with plants and with the stability of the object.
Thank you very much for this nice answer, I think. So, Agnieszka, what next?
Yes,
I think your schedule, because we are almost on time.
Yes, exactly. We are on time. I think we've used a quota of questions. I hope you can see on the screen. We can invite now everyone to have a short break, lunch break. And yes, I would like to just thank you very much to all the speakers of today. I think it was very interesting to see, to learn about all the solutions which we have at hand when we talk about building a city resilient to climate change in terms of more nature-based solution, blue-green infrastructure, and there is a certain readiness and enthusiasm in the cities on local level. So I think it's a great to see this throughout that session. Now we are going to talk about the solutions for emerging pollutants or problematic substances in wastewater entering the Baltic Sea, and we will have 4 presentations on various substances. So we will hear about the insights from Morpheus project, about pharmaceuticals, and a little bit on involvement of citizens in awareness raising about hazardous substances from non-HAZ City project. Then we will look into the microplastics removal through nature-based solutions from Fun Plastic project, and then we will see what results the Contra project has to offer, which quite much linked to the Baltic beach wreck management. So without further delay, I will be very happy to invite our first speaker, please, the Małgorzata Szopińska from Gdańsk University of Technology. Małgorzata, I will now stop sharing my screen and please take the floor or take the screen.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I would like to share this one. Good afternoon. I hope you get enough time for your lunch and rest, now having probably your coffee in your hands, and are back to our seminar. On behalf of Morpheus team, I would like to present today a major bullet points regarding our project, which actually ended in 2019. Morpheus, so this is a model areas for removal of pharmaceutical substances in the Baltic Sea. The project involves 7 partners and 9 associated partners from Sweden, from Germany, Poland, and Lithuania. Our study was based on evaluation of regional consumption of selected pharmaceuticals within model areas, chemical analysis. So this was inlet and outlet wastewater in 4 selected BBTPs in 4 selected BBTPs in each country. So like 16 BBTPs was evaluated, and also recipient water was studied in case of pharmaceutical presence. And the final step was recommendation of advanced technologies for better pharmaceutical removal. We start from consumption. Consumption of pharmaceutical differs between countries, regions, and even cities. We create database for model areas of selected prescribed and refound pharmaceuticals. Data comes from 2015. All of information are available in this report. When we look for this comparison of consumption per inhabitant, in 2015, we see in red the highest values for pharmaceuticals. We also see some gaps. So you see that this data was not available to obtain, was not prescribed, or just not monitored. Another thing what I would like to share with you, it's, for example, data from ibuprofen. They are really low in Poland and Lithuania, but this is because we monitor only prescribed ones. So once the substance was in the prescribed medicines, then it's counted. So here, all of ibuprofen, what we can just easily buy in the shop, it's not counted here. So this is what we need to have in mind. But just have a sample. So let's say heart medicines, so beta blockers are prescribed in each country of model areas, and comparative analysis conducted in Morpheus confirmed that distribution patterns depend on doctor's prescription, seasons, and age of population. So basically, they really differ. Another step was pharmaceutical analysis. So basically, as a part of consumed medicines, ends up in wastewater treatment plants, and eventually goes to the rivers, lakes, or the South Baltic Sea, because many of them are not removed sufficiently in today's wastewater treatment plants. We have the same sampling procedure for all of countries. So the data what we obtained are really comparable. And we also have the same analysis method, solid phase extraction and HPLC, MS was used, and sample were analyzed in one laboratory, in Swedish laboratory, which is recommended by Swedish EPA. So we get a really nice database of pharmaceuticals. The sampling strategy, let's say we had two ones. Once when the wastewater treatment plant is located near the river, we sample upstream river and river downstream, as well as outlet and inlet of a wastewater treatment plant. In case of wastewater treatment plant was located near of Baltic Sea, like it is in Gdańsk case, so then we also collect surface water and bottom water at the end of collector. As well, we also sample, let's say, additional source, possible source of pharmaceuticals. So this was a Vistula river. So, but I don't know if you know the sentence what is attributed to Albert Einstein, that not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. So this can be directly moved to the environmental studies. So I would say not everything that can be measured is worth measure, and not everything worth measuring is measurable. So that's why we decided to select 15 of components what was monitored. The selection was made based on suggested by European Union watch list, as well as available methods, and we decided they are worth to measure. But some of them, for example, estrone, estradiol, they are really hard. They are hormones, really are hard to determine. However, our method was kind of really good, I would say, because method the quantification limit is at the level of nanogram per liter. That is really important when you will would like to ask some laboratory for analysis. This is extremely important for monitor the technological solutions, because we need to have a reliable method for determination of pharmaceutical. Having these two data sets, so consumption and pharmaceutical analysis, this is the idea was to compare maybe the data, how can be useful for the pharmaceutical evaluation. In order to predict the actual pharmaceutical load, reaching the inflow of BBTPs, so predicted incoming load, the excretion rate and size of BBTP has to be included, as well as intake of this, what was calculated, intake of each pharmaceutical. Excretion rate, this is a parameter which describes the share of consumed pharmaceutical dose, which is not metabolized, but released enriched by human body via urine or feces. Despite the average rate suggestions by literature, it is well known that excretion rate is substance specific. Second approach, like bottom-up approach, this is like when we are taking samples in the environment and determining the actual burden of pharmaceuticals. This is actually the basis for this bottom-up approach. And concentration we have been found we may calculate measured incoming load, multiplying the concentration and annual average flow of wastewater, and having these two approaches. The question was that, but how the correlation between those approaches, those data, obtained data, correlate? Does it correlation exist? Or maybe found some interesting conclusion after comparison of them. All of results are presented in deliverable 4.2. I just wanted to show you one sample, actually the best one, carbamazepine, when these two values are really nicely fit to itself. This is one exception, the Gebaya wastewater treatment plant, which was in Sweden. This is really small wastewater treatment plant, 880 inhabitants connected, and this here we had not really a nice match. However, if we look, we get actually linear relation between this measured and predicted using consumption data concentration. So what is the conclusion? What might be concluded that carbamazepine is a good candidate to be used as a predictor of expected chemical load to wastewater treatment plant using consumption data in a certain region. So in such approach, we could eliminate the cost of measurements. For example, this will be like one solution for this approach. The last thing, what we did in Morphos project that made the most important, I guess, this is advanced treatment technology evaluation and recommendation. So we did inventory of existing treatment technologies in South Baltic area, as well overview of advanced treatment technologies in the South Baltic area, as well in Switzerland. These are 2 reports available in English. We also translate the overview of advanced treatment technologies into Polish. So we also have an book example in Polish. So if someone are interested in it, you can contact me. We have I can share the content of this book with you. I will do it with pleasure. We also published some results, some summary of what we did here. So I invite you also to have a look on that. But generally, when we think about implemented advanced treatment technologies for wastewater for the wastewater treatment, as a 4th step of treatment, we are considering ozonation. This is oxidative method. When the ozone molecule take part the major thing. So ozone is doing the job, the oxidation. Ozonation is often considered as a compact and cost-effective, unfortunately, method for advanced treatment, but the removal efficiency of pharmaceuticals really high, up to even 95% or 99% for some species. This is good advantage. This advantage is like they may occur in such a complex matrix like wastewater, that other ozonation byproducts occur, like bromate also can formate. So this ozonation needs polishing step, example filtration. Another advanced treatment technology is powdered activated carbon, which may be added to some separate contact reactor, as well to the biological reactors. The advantage of this solution is no formation of byproducts. However, in case of PAC, separation of PAC is needed at the end, so we need another device for that. And another disadvantage is that we need to place for storage and handling of PAC, so there is explosion risk or abrasive wear of pumps and pipes. Alternative for PAC is GAC, so granular activated carbon. So it has the same advantages as PAC, but it doesn't need the storage and handling. That is also a good thing. Only thing that for GAC, we need to have a really good parameters of like pretreatment is crucial. For example, the suspended particulate matter needs to be at a certain level. Having this all of information about the consumption, measured concentration, comparison of measured and calculated concentration, as well as knowledge about the existing and advanced technologies. As a final step was a proposition of roadmaps. So solution for 4 BBTPs, 1 from each country. So we propose the advanced treatment solutions for exact studied BBTP. So today I prepare for you example from Gdynia Dębogórze, but all of examples are present on our website. So if you will be interested, I invite you to our website. In case of Gdynia Dębogórze, we propose ozone treatment unit and back filtration. This is so regarding ozonation, I just put here the cost comparison because of limited time. Of course, we also evaluate and consider pros and cons of these methods, but having the cost, in case of ozonation, the initial costs are kind of high, for example, in comparison to GAC. However, having GAC, considering GAC implementation, we need to consider that filters need to be changed for Gdynia once per year. So we calculate it based on the load, what we get, load of pharmaceutical, what we get from the measurement. So it can differ in each BBTP. So this is only, there are only expectation for exact Gdynia Dębogórze BBTP. If we would think about the operational cost, they are power consumption, let's say they are similar, a little bit less in case of ozonation. So pure implementation of such advanced treatment, of course, pilot study needs to be considered and checked in each BBTP. If you will be more interested in advanced treatment technologies, please look into the sister project. They are evaluating new technologies in case of pharmaceutical removal. There is also South Baltic project. All of reports you can find on our website here. This is a link to these materials. We also had some policy recommendation. If you will be interested, they are also available at the website. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Małgorzata, for a very interesting presentation. Especially, I think those advanced treatment technologies are something that BSR Water platform would like to take up to our Baltic Smart Water Hub. So not all solutions are at the moment available, and I look forward to the cooperation in the future so we can have them described for the whole region to be used. Thank you very much, Małgorzata. And just I would like to remind everyone that please, whatever questions you would have to Małgorzata and the speakers after, please write them in the chat, and we have at the end of the second session the Q&A time for questions. You can also just wait with your question if you don't want to type, and we open the floor and mic for you. But now I would like to give a floor to our second speaker, Monika Piotrowska-Szypryt from Gdańsk Water Utilities. Monika will talk about the pilots and in particular raising citizens' awareness about hazardous substances, examples and experiences from non-HAZ city project. We know that non-HAZ have done an amazing work when working with the public and citizens on raising the awareness about hazardous substances. So please, Monika, we are eager to listen to your presentation.
Thank you, Agnieszka. I will try to share my screen. So thank you very much for the invitation to this very interesting conference. I was listening to all the presentation with very high interest. Nevertheless, we are missing the eclipse of the sun, which had started right now. So this is just, you know, the situation that the weather is and the environment is has prepared for us, but we are here in the conference. So I will introduce myself again. My name is Monika Piotrowska-Szypryt. I work for the Waterworks company in Gdańsk, Gdańsk Water Utilities, and I will tell a few words about the campaign that we provided within non-HAZ city project. The project goal was to minimize the emission of hazardous substances from urban areas into aquatic environment. And the project consortium consisted of 18 partners. Among the partners, it was our company, and the lead partner was the municipality of Stockholm. We based our goal on the assumption that hazardous substances are present everywhere, almost in every product, like single-use plastics, plastic packages for food, electronic devices, cosmetics, cleaning agents, and even in toys. We mostly focused on a group of hazardous substances that are very commonly present. These are so-called endocrine disruptors. And they are very important because they are similar in structure to hormones, which means that when entering the human body, they can disturb the work of hormone system. In our activities, we focused on 4 main endocrine disruptors like phthalates, bisphenol A and its other forms, brominated flame retardants, and per and polyfluorinated alkyl substances, so-called PFAS. On the screen, you can see the function of those additives in different products, so the role they are playing in the products, but also some examples in which products they can be found. As I said, endocrine disruptors can disturb hormone system, and in result, they can cause a lot of diseases, severe diseases like obesity, diabetes, allergies, cancer, metabolic disorders, and many others. But also we have to remember that when those substances reach the environment, they also cause environmental pollution, which can impact the wildlife and the health of marine organisms. Hazardous substances can reach our body through different paths, like direct contact through the skin, for example, when we are wearing clothes containing chemicals, when breathing, when eating and drinking. And of course, as I said, when we are using the products containing chemicals, we can cause the emission of those compounds to the environment. For example, via wastewater, when we are washing out cosmetics or using cleaning agents, or because of inappropriate waste disposal. We were trying to think in the project how to reach our goal, how to eliminate those substances in the cities, if it is possible or if it can be effective. And we as a consortium decided to provide social campaigns and also to organize the pilot studies. Every partner could prepare the campaign in their own way, and also everyone could invent own slogan. Our slogan was the City on Detox. And we prepared the strategy for the campaign. We also decided to have ambassador, and we started the cooperation with the very well-known TV and press journalist Katarzyna Bosacka. She has her own TV program, recently very active in the internet, so she's really recognized by Polish people. We also wanted to do some campaign activities within our own cyclic activities as a company. We also wanted some participants for our pilot study, but I will tell later on about this. And also the main aim was to distribute, to disseminate the certain knowledge. So we started with the Facebook profile, City on Detox, where we are posting about the problem. We are presenting the substances. We are posting about eco-friendly alternatives. Also, we are sharing very interesting articles that are present in the internet. And recently we have over 5,000 followers. We are also trying to give some advices, recipes for simple products that can be done at home. We are distributing different materials like brochures, and also we were organizing meetings to have a face-to-face contact with inhabitants. And within those meetings, there were also some events. These are the pictures from one of our events in which we had an info stand with brochures and some workshops. We also decided to organize some competitions, and one of them was the rap song competition for primary school pupils. The task was to compose and to write the rap song. regarding hazardous substances and their possible presence in the wastewater system. So you have the picture of one of the winning teams and also a piece of the art. No longer should it be like this. I can't accept to live like this, when in the pipes instead of water we have toxic waste and litter. So as you can see, the children were very creative and the songs were really very on a very high level. Coming back to the pilot study, it was a half-year study, and we organized it because we wanted to have the proof that even small steps and behavior changes at the source can really make the difference. Within the recruitment process, we received 24 applications, but finally we decided to cooperate with 9 families basing on our criteria, and those families were represented by 26 people, including adults and children. So the families, our volunteers, took a challenge, and with the support of experts, they tried to make behavior and consumer changes in order to decrease their exposure to hazardous substances. Of course, they were not alone with this challenge because we organized some workshops for them, and during those workshops that were related to different product groups, we wanted to show them how to prepare more eco-friendly alternatives themselves. We also started the closed Facebook group where they could communicate between each other, but also they could ask questions, if so, to the experts. They received also simple recipes basing on baking soda, citric acid, salt, vinegar, and so on. And we also distributed educational materials. And as I said, they had a constant expert support because we didn't want to be somewhere behind. We wanted to cooperate with them and to help them to go on with this challenge. So we visited their houses, we did the household check, so we helped them to determine what kind of products that can contain hazardous substances are present at their homes. We also gave them some incentives and gadgets to encourage them and not to give up. And at the very end, they received our appreciation and the feedback. And the feedback we could give them because we decided to do some researches, and we did some analysis in cooperation with the Detox company. So in November 2017 and in June 2018, 7 families were detected for 6 endocrine disrupting compounds. So we took urine samples, dust samples, and we also at their homes, and we also asked them to fulfill the exposure questionnaire just to see the correlation between the lifestyle and the results of the analysis we get. So for the first run of the analysis, we observed that all 6 compounds were present in all samples. But after this half a year of changes, we observed that the contamination decreased, and in some samples, in some cases, even to undetectable level. And here you have some charts. These are average charts, not for one person or one sample. And the blue column represents the first run of the analysis, and the yellow for urine and pink for dust is for the second run. So as you can see, for all compounds that we measured, the levels decreased. However, we also found some correlations, dependencies, as I said, thanks to those questionnaires. So for example, people that were dealing with, constantly dealing with paper bills, they had higher BPA concentrations. People buying food in plastic containers or boiling rice in plastic bags, they generally had higher values. And for the dust in the houses with a lot of electronic devices or plastic furnitures, the higher phenols could be observed. And in the houses with plywood furnitures, plastic floorings like made of PVC, and a lot of plastic decorations, they have higher phthalates level. To summarize the result of the study, I would like to read for you the story that was written down by one of our volunteers. And it really shows that it is worth to make some changes. Sunday story, why replacing domestic detergents with ecological alternatives makes sense, by Weronika Gasperczyk. For 1 week now, I've been alone with my daughter at home. This means that my energy resources are rather poor, and while being tired, I can make stupid mistakes by coincidence. Yesterday, I was cleaning my kettle from the scale, but I forgot about that. Not for long. I remembered when I poured the water from the kettle into the bottle for my child, and I tried it just to be sure that the temperature was okay. Fortunately, it was only water with citric acid instead of the descaled product available on the market. So I hope it speaks for itself. Because the project and the campaigns were very successful, we applied for financing the second stage of the project. And we received this financing from Interreg program. In this second stage, we mainly focused on producing a lot of educational materials that can help people to change their habits and their activities and consumer behaviors without a special advice or support from experts. So we produced a lot of different brochures. Some of them are dedicated not only to inhabitants, but also to business groups like gastronomy group, gastronomy sector, I mean. We also produced some videos. There is an internet app available to check the exposure to endocrine disruptors, both at home and at the office. And at the very end of the app, when people fill it in, they not only receive information about their exposure, but also they receive some recommendations, what to do to change. We also focused in the second stage in the plastic problem, because as you probably noticed, most of those compounds, especially endocrine disruptors, are added to plastic products. So we organized and we wanted to, through those activities regarding plastic, we wanted to show that plastic is not the waste problem, but it is also a problem related to the possible emission of hazardous substances. So we organized international seminar in April this year. We also prepared plastic diet campaign that is still running, and it is very intensive campaign lasting for 6 weeks. The posts and different activities are almost every day in all the partner countries. And every week is dedicated to different group of products like clothes, sport utensils, accessories and decorations, toys, food contact materials, and bioplastic. And the slogan was for the campaign in English is "Plastic and the Hidden Threat to Your Health." So summing up the presentation, I would like to underline that hazardous substances are really present everywhere. They can be found in many everyday life products, including toys, unfortunately, and in those toys and children's items, it is often in alarming concentrations. Besides, we have really a good law regarding the products for children. Chemicals can have negative impact on both on our health and the environment. Our pilot studies revealed that hazardous substances are present in human bodies, but their levels can be reduced by changing everyday life habits and consumer behavior. We also have to be aware that many companies ensure that the level of chemicals in their products comply with the regulations. However, the producer do not take into account that we received many small doses from different sources. This is so-called combined exposition. So it is not the point that one product really complies with the regulation, but we are using lots of products with those small doses, and there is kind of accumulation can happen in our body. So it's really better to eliminate than to accumulate. And last but not least, to make a change, it is not very difficult. We can search for information because it's really available. And there are lots of things that we can do ourselves to save the environment and our health and life. Thank you for your attention. I encourage you to visit the project website because all the materials can be downloaded down from there, and the website is in different languages. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, Monika, for this very eye-opening, I would say, presentation. A bit scary as well, knowing that how much influence actually our choices with those products and especially those hazardous substances have on our lives. And when we put on the top, as you said, the thing that we are not exposed to a single substances, but it's actually a common threat.
Cocktail.
That's the cocktail of which is not really analyzed well, and we are not aware to the very end how does this influence our bodies, apart that it is, yes, very dangerous. So absolutely impressive how much you have done on the source with the citizens, and I think it's really very important to continue this, especially building awareness. And also it was really nice to see that you are bringing a lot youth on board, so building this awareness from the very beginning is very important. So thank you very much, and whatever questions we would have to Monika, please put them in the chat. We are moving forward with our next speaker. And now I would like to invite Katarzyna Skrzypiec and Małgorzata Drewnowska to look a bit about nature-based solutions for microplastic removal and the lessons learned from international project Fun Plastic Sea. Please, Katarzyna, I will give the mic.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm really sorry I couldn't make it to this morning session as I just came back from the pilot station that I'm going to talk about. I hope you can see it now.
Yes, we can see.
Yes. Okay, so in the Fun Plastic Sea project, Gdańsk water utilities are operating the pilot installation that is generally dedicated to nature-based solutions, and now it is operated and studied for the microplastic, the potential of microplastic removal. Together with 10 other partners from Sweden, Finland, Denmark, we are working with preventing and decreasing the pollution of microplastics in water and the Baltic Sea, so as well as stormwater and wastewater. And in our company, in Gdańsk, the pilot concept is based on constructed wetland technology. And we are going to test how it can absorb, reduce or remove microplastics from the final effluent at the Gdańsk wastewater treatment plant. The effluent now is directly discharged to the Gdańsk Bay, and we already have such pilot station because we were participating previously in another Interreg BSR project, Interactive Water Management. And the pilot station was designed together with Professor Magdalena. And it is a pilot scale hybrid constructed wetland system. And we are now working on adaptation of this station for the purpose of the actual Fun Plastic Sea project and pilot study. And on the pictures, you can see how it was operated, how it looked like in 2018. The concept is based on a hybrid system. The first stage of treatment is a horizontal flow constructed wetland, and the second stage is realized in vertical flow constructed wetland. And together, it will provide higher efficiency of pollutants removal, which was proved during the previous project. And the combination of the horizontal and vertical flow can really, we can combine the advantages of both constructed wetland beds. The research that we are going to do is focused on determination of microplastic removal efficiency at different subsequent treatment stages. So the first sampling point is raw municipal wastewater, which is going to be taken from the inlet to the wastewater treatment plant. And the second sampling point is the outlet of the plant, so the treated wastewater mechanically and biologically. And of course, the third stage of treatment, which is our pilot station, and we are hoping that we could get samples from the third stage, so the horizontal flow bed, as well as from the vertical flow bed. And already last year in October, we managed to do the sampling campaign on the raw wastewater and on the outlet of the treatment plant. And now we are focusing on the pilot station. If you like to know more about the concept, the pilot, the possible solution for that, you can contact me. And thank you very much.
Very good. So yes, thank you very much, Katarzyna. And yeah, let's continue then with Małgorzata Drewnowska, please.
Okay, I think you can see it already. I would like to tell you something about the pilot station that was created in the range of the Fantastic Sea BSR Interreg project, and it was invented for removing microplastics from the stormwater. The main aim of the Fantastic Sea project is to reduce the microplastics before they enter the sea. And we wanted to make the pilot station, which would verify the nature-based solution, wetland system, to verify its effectiveness to remove microplastic pollution from the stormwater. For this purpose, we used the common reed and filtration beds properly selected. What was very important for us, we couldn't use any plastic elements in the station to avoid the contamination, of course, and incorrect results. The station is located near to the place where the stormwater is discharged from the stormwater collector is discharged to the Baltic Sea. And it is the system of the steel tanks. The stormwater from the stormwater collector is firstly directed to the first tank. This tank is equipped with the online measuring system. There are some probes that measure pH, conductivity, redox potential, dissolved oxygen, and turbidity. It also acts like the sedimentation pond, and we have the tank number 2 and tank number 3 that are filled in with a gravel of suitable grain size, in which the common reed is planted. And we have the possibility to change the order of these two tanks. From these tanks, the water is directed to the fourth tank that is the pond with the changing depth bed. And the last is only for storing the water after purification to make the sampling possible. And it's also equipped with the online measuring system. What I would like to tell you about is, of course, the cooperation with Gdańsk University of Technology. We are very grateful for this cooperation. The pilot station project was designed thanks to the support of Professor Magdalena Gajewska and her PhD student, Mr. Paweł Jakubowicz. And this support also included, for example, sampling. We got the special device from the Aalborg University. It is called UFO, Universal Filtering Object. It is made of stainless steel, and it is a system of stainless steel filters on which the microplastics are attached. Unfortunately, we don't have the results for the microplastic analysis because they have to be postponed because of the pandemic. I can only tell you something about the results from online measuring system, but it is very initial results. But as you can see on the diagram, we got some promising trends. For example, for the turbidity, before treatment, the values sometimes exceeded even 50 FNU. And after treatment, these values are much lower and are stabilized. And we got also the analysis of the other parameters. We observed that we have the reduction for inorganic nitrogen and total organic carbon. As I mentioned, these very initial results done last year when the plants weren't fully grown and it was a quite short operational time of our pilot. Therefore, now this year we are waiting for the more interesting results. If you want to know more about the pilot and about the fantastic project at all, I can invite you to our project site or our Facebook profile, our company's Facebook profile. I think it is all from my side. Thank you for your attention during my presentation. And now I would like to invite you to watch the video about our pilot station. I hope you will enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Małgorzata.
Thank you.
It was very interesting. We've been discussing a lot today solutions in terms of quantity management of stormwaters, but here we had a concrete solution for quality management as well. So thank you very much, Małgorzata, and I will now move to another speaker. So I would like to invite now the Contra project representative talking about Baltic beach frag. So Jacek Bełdowski from the Institute of Oceanology of the Polish Academy of Science and Katarzyna Kołecka from Gdańsk University of Technology will present the Contra project outputs.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so the project Contra is basically devoted to the use of beach rag as a resource in industry, and by the same time solving the problem of the waste generated during the beach cleanup. In tourist beaches, the beach cleanup is done routinely, so it generates some amounts of beach rag which has later to be disposed of, and therefore it is a problem what to do with it, and is it wise to remove it or not. So our case study in the project Contra was named WATE, and is based on the idea that the marine plants and algae, while they live in the environment, they accumulate different substances from the sea, and when they are beached and decomposed on the beaches, they release those substances back to environment, leading to enhanced concentration of different substances in the coastal zone. So on one hand, you are not removing anything from the sea. If you leave it on the beach, it just returns. And by another hand, you are increasing the concentrations of sometimes hazardous substances in the coastal zone. So the amounts we're talking for on managed beach, when the cleanup is done routinely, like in Puck municipality, those mass of substance for a 100-meter beach is quite low. It's up to 40 kilos. But in the unmanaged beach, those beach rag amount can reach sometimes 7 tons per 100 meters. So if you consider that we've got many kilometers of the coast, it can sum up to very large quantities. And the first substance which we looked at is, of course, nutrients. Plants consume nutrients for the growth, and when they decay, they release them into the environment. And from our studies, it seems that most of the nutrients from decomposing beach rag is released to pore waters. And then it leaches back with the submarine groundwater and with the surface outflow back to the sea. And this means that this amount of beach rag, which is currently shown in the Rzucewo region, it can translate to about 6 to 29 tons of additional primary production in the Baltic. So if you remove the beach rag, then you can combat eutrophication because you remove the nutrients from the system. And we looked also at other substances. So one of it is mercury. And we have seen that in this decaying algae, the concentration is higher than in the live algae, both in managed and unmanaged beach. And it seems that actually the mercury concentration is increasing in this beach rag. This means that both concentration is increasing because the organic matter decays and you have less mass, but also it acts like a sponge. It just accumulates the mercury from the seawater, even if it's dead and it's on the beach. Also, we looked at the levels of the most toxic form of mercury, the metal mercury, and in the unmanaged site, in the middle graph, you can see that in the water line where the beach rock is present, the concentration is the highest and is statistically significant difference. So it seems that the presence of the beach rock is actually increasing the bioavailable mercury concentration in the coastal zone. It is also true for other metals. Here you can see chromium and zinc. And in algae impacted beach sand, you've got higher concentrations. Also, organic contaminants behave in a similar way. We looked only at PCBs, PAHs, and nonyl phenols, and all are higher in this beach rock affected beach, especially in sediments directly below the beach rock, but also in the pore water. So in conclusion of this case study, I may say that pollution is accumulated, of course, by marine phytobenthos, and after the deposition on the beach, the accumulation progresses, and those loads of contaminants and nutrients are released mostly to pore waters. So if you clean up the beaches, you are in fact cleaning up the Baltic Sea because you are breaking the cycle. And it's a cost-effective method for the semi-natural cleanup of the Baltic Sea. But of course, beach rock has got other aspects. It creates habitats for the marine biota and for land biota, for example, for birds, and also for the beach fauna to some extent. Also, it stabilizes the beaches. So it's just one of the arguments pro cleaning up the beaches, but of course it is not the only argument, and possibly it justifies the cleanup of the beaches in touristic areas because you are not only making it good for tourists but also cleaning up the Baltic Sea. But the actual wide application of removing the beach rock all over the Baltic coast has to be carefully weighted with the scientific advice to decide where it is worth to remove the beach rock and where it is worth to leave it. So this concludes my part, and then Katarzyna may present another case study of the Contra project.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have idea to use reed bed system for beach wrack treatment because this method has many advantages. First of all, it's a natural method which require low energy, and what is the important, the integrated dewatering and stabilization take place in this system. This method has been in use in Europe since 80s for long-term sludge treatment. That's why we thought that we can use it for treatment of beach wreck. This method has many possibilities. First of all, it allowed us to use beach wreck despite its seasonal occurrence and different composition. Also, the content of the sand isn't any problem in this method. What is important, the treatment can be done in the place of origin, and during the processes, it was assumed that we will be able to obtain fertilizer. But because this method previously was used only for sewage sludge, we have many questions. The most important was about the location. Second very important question was the dose of beach wreck. And also we have question about the optimization of the fertilizer production. Our pilot plant was built in a plastic cube. We constructed 2 plastic cubes. At the bottom of this cube, there was a drainage system connected with the ventilation chimney. Filter was consisting of 2 gravel layer and the layer of the sun when the plant when the reed was planted. We divided our cube into 4 parts. Each part different dose of beeswax or beeswax mixed with compost was supplied. The sample campaign were conducted once a month from April to October. We determined the quality of beeswax from reed bed system as well as the quality of reject water. After 1 season of treatment of beeswax, the determination of selected toxic substances in treated material as well as substrate from the filter were done. And now I would like to show you a result which we obtained. On this figure, there is presented dry matter and organic substances content. It was found that the highest content of dry matter was found in the August. In spring and summer period, the content of organic matter was rather low. In autumn, unfortunately, the decrease of organic, the decrease of dry matter and increase of organic substances took place. It was probably caused by the large amount of rainfall. But based on this result, it can be concluded that the beeswax from a reed bed system should be removed in the summer. When we take it into consideration, beeswax as a fertilizer, we must we must find the content of nutrients. And it was found that in beeswax treated in the reed bed system, average content of total K-dine nitrogen was a little bit higher than in natural fertilizer, which is manure. In case of total phosphorus, it was found that the average content was much higher than in case of manure. And it was also found that in part C and part F of our pilot facility, it was the part when we mixed beeswax with compost, the content of total phosphorus was very high. When we want to use beeswax as a fertilizer, very important is content of metals. These content of metals have to meet permissible values according to law. And in our case, it was found that for the most of analyzed metals, this value content of metals was much below permissible value. There was a problem with the mercury, but this problem occurred only in parts of reed system when we mixed bead wrack with the compost. This part is marked in red. In other parts, the content of mercury was still below permissible value. And now the quality of reject water, and we was found that reject water after drainage through the filter just after supplying of raw beach wrack has composition similar to the seawater. So from the environmental point of view, this reject water is safe. And as I was mentioned, after one season of the treatment, we done some additional tested with selected phthalates, PAHs, and pesticides, and we done this tested in treated beach wrack and as well as in substrate from the filter. And it was found we tested 16 types of PAHs, and we didn't found any of them in treated beach wrack and in substrate. In case of pesticides, we tested 7 types of them, and we found only in treated beach wrack some pesticide, only one type of the pesticide. And in case of phthalates, we tested 11 types of them, and only 2 of them was present in treated beach wrack, and one of them, dibutyl phthalate, was found also in substrate from filter. We decided to make also some microbiological tested. However, there was only 2 sample campaign, and this microbiological test was done in the raw material, and we found rather a big number of bacteria, especially in edge part of the reed beds, and also we found a big amount of fungi. However, the highest number of fungi was in the part of reed beds when where we mixed beach wrack with the compost. As I was told, this is a preliminary study, and we must and we will continue them because it is very important to find the long-term changes in microbiological conditions. As I was told you, beach wrack is a source of nutrients, and it has a positive effect on growth of these plants, and it can be seen on this photo. In this part, we have reed which grow where the beach wrack is supplied, And here is the part when we do not supply beadwrag, and you can see this reed look much better. And what is important, we found that after 1 season of the treatment, we obtain material which looks like a good quality soil. And now the conclusion. It seems that reed bed system can be a good solution for beadwrag treatment. It can be constructed near the beach when there is a beadwrag. Beadwrag from reed bed system is dewatered and stabilized, and as I show you, it has a high content of nutrients and low content of metals and other toxic substances. That's why it can be considered as a fertilizer. And one more thing before I will end my presentation. Here is the photo from drone with thermal imaging camera, and it was found that the presence of plants in the reed bed system increase the temperature, and those improving the watering and stabilization processes of beadwrag. Thank you for your attention.
Yes, thank you very much for this interesting presentations. And meanwhile, I was checking our chat. We can move to the last session, which is Q&A, so questions and answers. And I don't see any, while I don't see any questions in the chat, I will just simply open the possibility to everyone, to our audience, to ask questions from the speakers. So if you have any question or a comment, please just unmute your microphone and feel free to ask a question. I think that with all the pilots, at least pilot solutions, we definitely have a potential to take them further to the next full-scale step. So there is a way forward. I see now, okay, I see that slowly, yes, our participants slowly have another assignment. So I see no questions from the audience. I would like to maybe have a final interaction with our audience. So I will launch the poll now with the question: do you find few nature-based solutions like rain gardens, reed beds, or those examples that we have presented today important for accelerating the transition to clean and healthy Baltic Sea? 2 days of discussions, we nearly all agree that nature-based solutions are important for all areas, not only for urban areas, but in particular for all. I will end the polling now. Thank you very much for that. And well, then I would like to conclude. I would like to first of all say thank you to our audience for joining us today, and thank you to our speakers, all the presenters, for their very interesting, valuable presentations. We know that expanding and enhancing the water infrastructure with multi-purpose nature-based solutions definitely brings multiple environmental, economic and social benefits to urban communities, including enhanced biodiversity. We had done examples of yes, protection for climate change against the floods, and it creates green jobs, reduce the infrastructure costs and spaces for recreational and social activities. So cities can become more livable and we have more attractive environments to live with. Definitely, that is the way forward. I think we will increase more and more of the implementation of those solutions. And as we noticed also in the our legal framework and in the recommendation by Helsinki Commission, that is also highlighted in there. So my special thank you also goes to our local host, to Gdańsk University of Technology, Professor Magdalena Gajewska and her wonderful team for organizing us a virtual tours and this very interesting content presentations and mobilizing the whole team to share their experiences. So thank you very much to Gdańsk team. And
our pleasure. Thank you very much for collaborating with us and so nice preparing the workshop. So thank you very much once again.
Yes, thank you very much, Magdalena, for all wonderful wonderful work on preparation. And just a word about this, that all materials that we have, our speakers agreed to share this, so we will post everything and publish on the bsrwater.eu website. To explore more solutions in sustainable water management, please visit our Baltic Water Hub. And of course, I very much invite you all to join the BSR Water platform in our final conference, which will be organized virtually on 15-16 September. So you will get more information also from our website. With these words, well, thank you very much, everyone, and hope to see you in various constellations, in maybe project or other collaboration around the region. So have a wonderful afternoon, and thank you very much. Bye-bye.